It was indeed with a heavy heart that we learned of the passing of our sovereign Queen Elizabeth, who died on Thursday, September 8th, 2022 at Balmoral Castle. Within a few hours, tributes started appearing on the Land-Rover Series 1 Facebook page. There is absolutely no doubt that the royal family are all enthusiastic Land Rover owners, and the Land Rover brand carries the Royal Warrant. I was contacted by Megan from the Auckland Land Rover Owners Club, asking if I was going to organise anything. I hadn't really thought about it, to be honest, but as the photos continued to be posted of the Queen driving or standing next to a Land Rover, I felt I should do something to honour the passing of such a famous Land Rover owner. On the following Tuesday, 13 September, I posted an event on 3 Land Rover owner Facebook pages for a drive around the East Coast Bays to the Domain to honour our Queen. After a day or so, I had a grand total of 2 confirmed attendees, so I thought I'd better call in some reinforcements. The Jaguar Car Clubs put on a good display at the Brits and Euro show, as well as the annual Brits at the Beach, so I got in touch. After all, the company is Jaguar Land Rover. It was great to receive such a positive response, so perhaps they too were mulling over a suitable tribute. My idea was to meet at St Heliers and drive around the bays of the Auckland Domain, but Simon Crisp from the Jaguar Car Club suggested we meet at the Royal Akurana Yacht Club and head south to St Heliers, then back north to the Domain. This was when I decided to really push the boat out and posted the event on the Auckland City Event Finder and contacted TV3's News Hub. I was soon contacted by Isabel Ewing from Discovery asking about times and meeting places, and the whole event just started taking off. Meeting time was 5:30 p.m. at the Yacht Club on Monday the 19th of September, the day of the Queen's funeral, which dovetailed in perfectly with News Hub, as they were keen to tie in with the funeral's coverage and a live crossing. I had a few things I needed to attend to on Monday, and Isabel from TV3 contacted me about midday asking if I could get some vehicles on site earlier, about 4:30ish. I put a request out to all my contacts and headed into the city with fingers crossed that there'd be at least a few Land Rovers turning up. Well, thank goodness for that. The Jaguar Car Club really got into it with the red, white and blue ribbons, and a few of the Land Rovers were decked out with Union Jacks, which looked really magnificent. We were supposed to roll out at 6 p.m, but the News Hub crew held us back for another 20 minutes for the live cross.
For coming out on this horrible evening to celebrate I guess not really celebrate, but mark the passing of our beloved Queen. Fantastic effort. We're absolutely delighted that this little impromptu thing has turned into over 40 cars already. Now TV3 have taken a huge interest in this. They're over here with their camera crew, and they've just told me that what they want to do is a live cross that will happen at 6:25 on the dot, and they want us all lined up so that we can do a drive past their camera position, which will be out near the entrance gate. Sorry it's taking a bit longer than we thought, but I think the opportunities to get on the TV is probably quite a good one for the club and for everybody else. So thanks again.
The idea was to intersperse Land Rovers with Jaguar cars, as most of the Land Rovers carried PRS radio systems, so we could keep the convoy together. But come the time-critical rollout, all the Jaguar cars pulled in behind Simon, with Land Rover performing a rear guard action.
Hoki mai anō, welcome back. New Zealand thoroughbred breeders who made the invite list to attend the Queen's funeral but couldn't make it held their own commemorations today.
In Cambridge, champion horse breeder Sir Patrick Hogan shared his memories of an event as owners of vintage Land Rovers and Jaguars hit the streets in Auckland to pay their respects. Isabel Ewing has a story.
Revved up and ready to pay tribute to the Queen, Land Rovers ferried the Queen at countless ceremonial events. Alongside Jaguars, they hold Royal Warrants, the Queen's stamp of approval. Owners of the classic cars gathering in Auckland for a convoy in honour of Her Majesty.
The Queen, and the very sad occasion of her death after the most marvellous 70 years of service to all of us.
Isabel, that convoy for the Queen must be happening about now.
That's right, Laura. They're just leaving the Royal Yacht Club now, and it has been pointed out to me that this is some very authentic English weather, but that hasn't deterred about 40 cars from turning up this evening. They're heading from here up to St Heliers. They'll loop round, head up to Parnell, through Parnell, and end at the Auckland Domain. Now, the intention here, the organisers tell me, is to pay respects to the Queen through a shared love of British cars. Now, tonight we've seen here in Austin Healey a quintessential British sports car, an E-Type Jaguar, and of course the Queen's very favourite, the Land Rover. Now, looking ahead, the Prime Minister's office has given us some detail of what's going to happen on the 26th of September. There will be a national minute of silence observed from 2 p.m. at the start of the State Memorial Service. Now, that will be held at St Paul's Cathedral in Wellington. It'll be broadcast and live streamed, and 2 screens set up at Parliament for people to watch too. The Prime Minister saying that that minute of silence allows all of New Zealand to stand together to mark an extraordinary 70 years of service.
Isabel Ewing, thanks for the update.
No, she isn't.
At St Paul's Cathedral in Wellington.
It's all a lie.
Broadcast and live streamed, and 2 screens set up at Parliament.
Oh, he wasn't even filming at that time.
It's genuine.
It is quite well.
Sorry, we'll turn it down.
Yeah.
And the mum had the Queen's Land Rover.
That's Mark. Yes.
That's the Queen Mother.
Yes.
That's Mark's sister and his mother and father.
Right, with the Queen and Queen Mother.
No, the other person is actually her lady in waiting.
Oh, her lady in waiting.
Lady
Okay.
Jane Rankin, who was a close friend of my mother's.
Right.
And her and my mother worked in Vienna during the salvaging people during the Hungarian Revolution.
Right.
And Lady Jane Rankin said to mother, they had 3 Series 1s, which they were brand new almost in those days. And she said to my mother, how come you always want to go and drive that one? And mother said, oh, I think it's just a bit sweeter.
You hear so much rush to the Queen's coffin during...
By the time we reached St Heliers Bay, the convoy had been on the news, and it was heartening to see a few spectators in the dark waving to us as we drove past.
Better get our waving thing out.
There we go.
Yes, it's a sad state of affairs, and I've heard that.
Most followed the prescribed route to allow a free right turn into the museum grounds, while a few stragglers made their own way to our finishing point.
The Queen's guards fainting as well. Fell off the podium.
Oh no.
Yeah.
We were supposed to meet later for a post-implementation report, but I guess the Land Rovers didn't get the memo. But we're the only vehicles still at the museum for the final cross with News Hub.
Many different groups have been paying tribute to the Queen in different ways, and some are continuing this evening. Isabel Ewing is in Auckland's Domain. Isabel, what's been happening there tonight?
Well, Sam, we're at the Auckland War Memorial Museum, where we have the last remaining vehicles from a 40-strong convoy that ended up here earlier this evening. Some very classic English weather that we're experiencing. One of the organisers told me that this is about celebrating a marvellous monarch, one of which he doesn't expect to see again in his lifetime, but also about celebrating a fellow Land Rover owner. One of the participants has also told me a very personal story about his connection to the royal family. family. His mother worked as a Red Cross nurse in Austria and used a Land Rover that was loaned to her by the Queen to help rescue refugees from the Hungarian Revolution in the 50s and flee across the border. He also told me that the Queen Mother's lady-in-waiting was close friends with his mother, and his grandfather, get this, was the body double for King George. So some wonderful special stories being shared among the participants of the convoy in this very English weather this evening.
Isabel, thanks so much. Great to see what's going on back home in New Zealand.
God bless you, Your Majesty. On behalf of the thousands of Land Rover enthusiasts around the world, thank you for your service and your shared passion for Land Rover. May you rest in peace.